All right, we're here on the lovely Southside High School campus with head coach Miles Holcomb. And Coach, seeing the Miles Holcomb on the desk and seeing you back in here, it's a familiar sight to us here at Average Joe's and the community. Coach, just when you hit the ground running here and was named head coach, kind of catch everybody up, because you've probably been moving at lightning speed trying to get everything, your stuff reinstalled here and getting the guys ready, the mindset. Just take us through from the time you hit the ground running as head coach here to where we are even here today, because you've already had coaches come in here and y'all got 100 moving parts as we speak today.
Yes, sir. Well, you know, when I got named the head coach, you know, we finished out baseball season. We had a good group, you know, and Coach Chappell in 23, you know, coached running backs for us, and we got a lot of guys who are multi-sport guys, you know, and they were baseball players and football players, and so I knew I didn't want the first, you know, they're and to think like, all right, well, he got named head coach again, and he's going to quit on us. And so, like, we finished out baseball, you know, ended up going to Hartselle and lost a tough game 1 to Hartselle, and, you know, I mean, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, and so in the middle of that, you know, we were trying to one, make sure that, you know, and I thought, you know, Scoop does as good of a job in the weight room as anybody does, you know, and so he was holding it together. We would come down here, we'd get a lift in, then go to practice, and it was something that it was exciting. It was busy. You know, we didn't get moved into our house here until I think the week after the 4th of July. And so, you know, we sold our house and then, you know, moved back here, and we moved some of our stuff in with my parents in Gunnersville at the beginning, and then we have a house, the house in Crossville. We moved our house in Crossville, and so we were making that drive from Crossville to Southside every day, and so that was a little bit on our vehicles. But other than that, I mean, it's been fun, like getting guys back, having conversations with them. You know, what do they want to see? What do they enjoy? Because this group, especially the senior group, they were sophomores, you know, and so I was familiar with them. You know, a lot of them played. They played for us in 23, so they kind of knew, you know, what we expected. And then the freshman class we had in 23 is this junior class, and they're a super talented bunch. So some of those guys played for us in 23. And so just having conversations with them, because I think the version of me they knew then is a different version now. And better or worse, I don't know, but it's a different version. And so I think they had to get to know me all over again a little bit, and just like I had to get to know them, because they were in a different spot too. You know, the role they played in 23 and the role they play this year is completely different. And so hopefully we had to, you know, we installed what our standard is, and, you know, we'll find out tomorrow night. You know, we'll find out where we are.
No doubt. Coach, what did you learn about yourself from your stint over there at Tuscaloosa that kind of led you back over here? I know I've seen articles and things where you said, man, I kind of miss home, like this is kind of home to you, but just from a standpoint of, you know, coaching internally, how did you think you matured as a coach, or how does that look?
I think I just learned a lot of lessons. You know, I think I learned that the fit of you as a person with the community is important, and like to say that I regret the decision would be disrespectful to the people that I met last year and the kids that I got to coach last year. At the same time, I don't know if I'll ever forgive myself for leaving the senior class last year either. Like they were a special group that, you know, I still communicate with a lot of them now, and you know, I
noticed you had some of them back out at practice and
yes,
things.
Sir. Yeah, and like that part, you know, Cole Garrett's on our staff.
Yeah.
You know, and it's those type of things mean as much as wins and losses. If you're in the business long enough, like you're gonna have wins and you're gonna have losses. Like
yeah.
that's gonna happen. And then, you know, made the move. And it didn't work out.
Yeah.
You know, and like I thought I was getting out of coaching. I thought I was getting out of education. For probably 2 months, I thought like I'm done with education. My son he's getting to that age now where like moving is fine, but it's got to make sense. And I realized like how selfish of a decision it was in general to make that move, because I don't think he felt like he could voice his opinion on like, hey, this is the longest we've been anywhere. I've got friends here. I don't want to leave my friends. You know,
yeah.
And I think he kind of told my wife that, you know, throughout the year, and towards the end of the year, You know, he kind of voiced that to me a little bit, and like, we'll get to coach multiple seasons, whether it's a head coach, assistant coach. Like, if you want to coach right now, like, you have the opportunity to coach somewhere.
Right.
But like, you get one chance to be dad.
Yeah.
You know,
that's true. Yeah.
And I didn't want him to resent me for the rest of his life, especially his high school career, because of he had to leave his friends and felt like that what he wanted to do didn't matter.
Yeah.
And this place was special to us. There's a lot of things we went through here that, like, you know, this would be it for me. Like, this is it. They will. And everybody has an expiration date. When you sit down in the chair, you know you have an expiration date. And I'm okay with that. It's just I don't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah.
I don't want to be anywhere else. I think the biggest thing that I learned is that people see you how they need to see you. For whatever their story is, they're going to see you how they need you to be seen.
Yeah.
And it don't matter what your opinion is. It don't matter what the truth is. That's how they're going to see it. And so you just have to learn to live with it in this profession.
Getting back here, though, you're not reinventing the wheel. You know, majority of the staff was still in place here, the kids, the communities, the administration. How easy was that transition when you got back here? Okay, this is familiar. We've been here before. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. The culture's built here. That had to be a positive once you got back here and got rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think like most of our staff was here, but then there were some great additions from last year's staff that were still here.
Yeah.
You know, obviously having Booker back, you know, to coach defensive line, like that's been a great addition. I'm glad we got to keep him. You know, Coach Epps came on last year, you know, as a teacher and then as a coach, and so he's been great. He's been a great addition. You know, and so like everybody, we didn't keep everybody from last year, but the ones we did have, and then, you know, the opportunity to get Robert in here from being a college head coach for the last 6 years and being in college, and then his experience, you know, when he was at Mobile Christian, like is invaluable, you know, and so somebody that I can kind of bounce ideas off of, you know, as, hey, what would you do in this situation, head coach wise? Like, what do you think we need to do? Do you like this? You know, you think we can do this? And all those things have been, you know, huge positives. It's also made the transition a lot easier, because those guys just kind of, you know, the guys in the locker room just kind of fell back into, like, this was our routine. Let's just go back to our routine. Yeah. And we tweaked some things and done some things a little bit different, but for the most part, you know, our staff is great. You know, these are the guys that I talk to on a daily basis. Yeah. You know, and so that makes it definitely a lot easier when it comes to the work environment. What about
The fact that you're playing a perennial power right off the bat? Mm-hmm. I mean, that you have to have everything aligned, and you guys, you know, you're going to know a whole lot about your guys, you know, minutes into that game. Coach, does that add more pressure to you as a staff and as a head coach, or when you play a Gunnersville right off the bat?
Like, I don't know necessarily if it adds more pressure. I mean, I think the amount of pressure that we put on ourselves is, I mean, it's pretty high anyway. I mean, if they're keeping score, you want to win it, you know, and so regardless of who that is, I think what it does is it gives you like a little bit more of a laser focus in how you prepare that week, especially for the first one. You know, guys are going to be excited, and I told them Sunday when they came in, like, the greatest part about opening up with Gunnersville, you know, I think Coach Reese is, 128-44 as a head coach, winningest coach in Gunnersville history. Yeah. You know, he was there, you know, with Coach Awesome as the defense coordinator, and then takes over as the head coach, and all the guys that he worked for and some of the guys that played for him, they're all on staff. That tells you a lot about their culture and about their program. And then I think since 2019 or 18, they're like 53-17. You know, with a semifinal appearance in there, probably a couple semifinal appearances in there. So I told them, like, if we go over there, the best part about going over there is that if the outcome's in our favor at the end, you know they ain't gonna have given it to us. We're going to have to earn it.
That's correct.
Like, we're going to have to go over there and find a way to win the game, because they're not going to lose it. That's not the program they are, and that's not the culture that Coach Reese has. So, like, we're going to have to go over there and find a way to win the game. And so that came from preparation this week. That comes from film. It comes from meetings. It comes from board time. I mean, those type of things, I think, just kind of give you a little bit more of a laser focus, knowing the opponent that you have to prepare for week 0.
Yeah, you got to dial it in when you play a team like that. Looking forward to that, though, Coach. It is a big challenge, but also talk about the opportunities there, because I mean, if you can go out and compete against guys like that, there's nobody on your schedule, that's going to kind of shock you, so to speak, athletically or challenge you from a coaching staff standpoint. No disrespect to nobody else, but they got an elite staff and elite athletes. But talk about the opportunities in front of you and your guys as well.
I think we learned a lot of lessons in 23. That team they had in 23 that ended up making a semifinal run. We learned a lot about our team. Similar situation. We went over there. We felt like we matched up pretty decent, and it was a back and forth game the whole time. Both defenses played great. Offenses kind of sputtered, and Julian didn't play for them, and so. But I thought the Delva kid was as good as advertised when we went over there. And
they're both college running backs.
That's exactly right. In the end, we lost the game. We're down on the 1 yard line. We have back-to-back false start penalties, to finish, and then there was multiple other opportunities that we had, but we couldn't capitalize. But we knew like our team had a chance to be successful even in that loss because of the way we played.
Right.
They're a quality opponent. I think 22, we found out a lot also. If you remember 22, when they come over here, we muff both kickoffs to start the game and then throw a pick six, and it's 21-0 like that.
Yep.
We ain't 4 minutes into the first quarter, and it's 21-0, and the final score was 21-7. Nobody was excited about losing the game. Nobody was excited about the mistakes we made, but we found out our team wasn't going to quit.
Yep, that's huge.
And we knew the kind of guys that we were going to have going forward. So I know, like, our kids put a lot. It's just, I think, human nature now. Like, they're going to put a lot of pressure on what the outcome is. But for us, like, our goal is we got to be our best when we get to region play.
No doubt.
Our region's tough. I think a lot of people last year kind of wrote that group off of you're not going to be able to compete in 6A, and I think they proved a lot of people wrong with being able to compete. And, we were in a tough 5A region. It wasn't like we were walking into this 6A region from a cupcake region the year before.
Yeah,
so, I think our kids are prepared. I think they're excited. I think they have like a little bit of I don't know if nerves is the right word, but I think there's some like anxious excitement because we hadn't really played anybody else. I mean, it's been offense versus defense since May. And so I think they are excited about seeing something else, and they want to know, like, where are we as a team? Like, where do we match up? So couldn't really ask for a better opponent to open up with, a better staff, like you said. Like, we're going to get tested all the way around, and we're going to figure out where we are, the things we do well, and the things we need to clean up.
I heard a Florida State coach is at a Hoover game. I believe he was coaching in that game because Robbie and them was there. When they played IMG, the time McCammon got injured when he flipped the field on him.
That's right. Like, so he got hurt. Yeah. And the second half was different.
Yeah, when he got hurt, it changed. But that Florida State guy said something that made a lot of sense. He said, man, when you go to a game like this, nobody can hide.
No, they cannot.
He said, when you get out there and you play against guys like this, no position can hide anywhere on the field.
That's right.
And I'm like, this is kind of what you got to go, which is good, though.
Yes, sir.
Coach, just a couple more. I know these are a little bit longer right off the bat here. They're normally a little bit shorter than these, but just getting everybody caught up. Just kind of final thoughts, Coach. The floor is yours to speak on anything program-wise, any message you'd like to get out to the parents, community, whatever.
I think our kids are excited. I think they know. I think our guys know what the standard has been here. From back to 1980, I think back then was probably one of the better seasons that this program had ever had. And I remember we were looking at it in 22, I think, and like, hey, how can we find a way to make the playoffs, back-to-back years? Or how can we find a way to make the playoffs, 3 years in a row? And from Gary, through Ben last year, like, it's been 5 straight years for this program.
It's crazy.
To make a playoff. That's the first time it's ever happened in school history.
That's crazy.
And they understand what the standard is here. And so, like, the expectation carries weight to that. And if you've never, guys who've never had it, being part of it, being around it, as opposed to now, like, you got to go do it. And so, I think some of our guys have been on, like, the peripheral, just kind of being able to talk about, hey, this is what's going to happen, or this is going on, and this is what we do. But now, all of a sudden, like, now these guys are stepping into that role where they got to go do it.
Yeah, they got to get it done.
And so I think some of the anxiousness comes from, all right, I got to go do it. Do I believe in myself enough? And then have we built enough courage and belief in them as coaches for them to just go step in and do it? Because that's just what the standard is here. Right. Coach Niblett used to talk all the time, like, we would go play somebody and he would say, the standard got off the bus with you, but it's up to you to make sure it gets back on the bus with you. And so
He's always got some little clever.
He's got some great ones now. Like
yeah.
He always does, and I think that same thing's true. We said back when we scheduled this that Guntersville has been so successful that we're trying to get where they are. When people think of our program, they see us the way they see them because our towns are similar. And so I think the same thing's true. We ain't found a way to beat them yet.
Yeah.
We played them. This will be year 4, and we still haven't found a way to beat them. And so, going over there to play is tough. I think it prepares us for some more future road trips in the future. Very similar to going to Fort Payne a couple of weeks after that.
Very similar.
And so it'll be a good test for us. I'm excited about it. I'm really just more than anything else. I'm excited to watch our kids play. This is as good of a game as there is. You get to see the best excitement. You get to see kids feel like they are invincible, and then at times you have to be there for them to as a shoulder for them to cry on.
Get your head up.
And sometimes they're a shoulder for you to cry on too. Like you get in conversation, have real conversations with them.
No doubt.
That part's fun. That's what's awesome about the game.
The jungle going to travel too, right?
They will always travel. Yeah, that group
they'll do their part.
Always travel.
You don't have to coach them up, do you?
No, sir, not at all. That group will always travel.
They're going to do their part.
They sure will. So should be a fun. That's what I told our guys Sunday. Like they're going to have people there because their fans are always going to show up.
Yeah.
They know what to expect. Like our people are going to show up, so they know what to expect. Like the atmosphere to walk into a week 0 game after you ain't had a chance to play nobody else, for a whole year, like unreal.
Although it's red jerseys, it's going to be a different red jersey.
That's right. Crazy thing, I told the kids today, we had a guy yesterday, been in the program, been in the community for, Scoop said, as long as he can remember. And like, what these guys do, and like, I know it's high school athletics, but he walks up here, he comes to watch practice, he said, Coach, I want to donate $100 to the program. Wish I could donate more. And I told our kids, I was like, that's how much what you do matters to people around here.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of times,
effort.
Like, the outcome on Friday dictates how these people, like the guys who sit up here at McDonald's.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
They'll either be talking about how good we looked or how bad we looked.
100%.
And so that's a fun expectation to have to live up to.
You got that right, no doubt. Hey, them guys over there may be some of your biggest critics, but they also may be the guys who praise you the most.
That's exactly right.
And they got some stroke in the community.
That's right. and most of the time, the things that are a little bit true hurt the most.
Oh yeah.
And so that's most of the time that's what we need to hear.
You got to pay attention to your elders now. They know what's up. Coach, appreciate you sitting in. I'm sorry this one ran a little long, but
no problem.
Most of them be a little shorter than this. We just want to kind of catch everybody up all things Southside football. And Coach, appreciate you once again, and we'll be seeing you very soon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.